Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games.
Well, he's bad at board games.
My name's Brad Lake.
And I'm Topher Ferguson.
We're bad at board games, so you don't have to be.
Like Brad.
Like me. Bad at board games. Bad at this game.
Actually, I can confirm.
Yes, I need to learn how to make that engine work. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about how I beat Brad at board games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But still lost to Jill.
I did. I did.
And that was our first time playing the game.
Yes.
She smoked us.
Yes. So today we are talking about Grand Austria Hotel.
It is a Euro game.
Thank you, Brad, for your review. So,
Good night.
Yeah, and we're done. Grand Austria Hotel is a game by Virginio Gili and Simone Luciani. I'm hopefully not butchering those names too bad. It was published in 2015 originally. We do not have the original version, or maybe we do. I have no idea. We have a game that Brad picked up, thankfully, finally, recently. Didn't you?
No, I think this was the last year.
Has it been sitting that long?
Yeah.
So we have a backlog of games.
Hasn't been a year yet, but it's been close. 9 months.
I have some games that are a year old that we haven't played yet. Yeah, so this is a game that I have wanted for a very long time, and I thought I bought it. I bought the wrong hotel game, but that's okay. We'll play it at some point, and now finally Brad has this, so I don't have to buy it. I can just play his version. So Grand Austria Hotel, fantastic Euro.
Very good Euro. So the theme, Vienna at the beginning of the 20th century, was full of artists and people and things and all the stuff. And then they made a board game that doesn't seem like it at all.
Wait, this is...
Look, these cubes look like cubes. They don't look like coffee. They don't look like pastries. They don't look like wine. They are little red cubes, black cubes, white cubes, brown cubes.
Welcome to Euro games. It's so funny. Like, as somebody who is a game board upgrader, I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but I love deluxifier. I love the look of the classic Euro games so much. So, like, will I be upgrading cubes to actual Danishes and cups of coffee? No, I like the cubes. They look good. Yeah. So theme. So if it's not about art and all that, what it is about?
So, well, you were going to talk about mechanics.
Oh, I meant the theme still.
Well, the theme, it's essentially you're trying to be a hotelier and you're trying to get a bigger hotel in the Grand Austria. I keep wanting to say Astoria, and it's not that. It's Austria, Vienna, Austria. And you're trying to be the best and get all those fancy, rich, snobby people to come and stay at your hotel.
That's it. That's kind of it. You're running a cafe and trying to get the people to go up to the hotel room.
And evidently,
sounds awkward.
Evidently, after you feed them, they go to bed.
That is what we're saying they do, because that is what people do.
That's what the game does.
So, yeah. So let's talk mechanics a little bit. It is a hotel and there is a restaurant, so you are kind of having to navigate these two spaces. The game itself, primarily what you'll notice first off the bat is dice rolling and action selection based on those dice. Which is a mechanic that Brad and I both have learned we actually really like. A little bit of random, but you get a lot of planning with that. So that's going to start it off. But with that, you have hand management and resource management as big parts of it. So you have these cubes, you have the pastries or the Danishes and coffee and wine and all that kind of stuff. You also have a hand of cards that you are able to hopefully at some point employ into your workforce. So they are your workers. And that is your engine building, which is probably one of my things about this game I like the most, is trying to build up a bit of an engine. You are playing the cards in front of you that have ongoing or one-time or maybe end-of-game effects, and then you are trying to convert your resources to be able to put your hotel guests into a room, close off that door, and then do some set collection, be able to gain some end-game points, manage a couple other tracks based on scoring. So the actual turn order track, which has some components to it that are going to change as you go through the game, contracts, if you will, things that you can fulfill or you want to work towards. You also have an emperor track that you're going up that's also going to be giving you points and kind of working towards the end of the game and game scoring. So it's a point salad game. You get points in a lot of different ways, but those are the biggest parts of mechanics that I can think of.
It's point salad-y if you're good at it. Derek and I were mediocre at it. we got lapped by his wife and Toph.
You got lapped the last game that you and I played.
yeah.
Also, yeah, it's funny for Derek because Derek's usually pretty good at engine building type games. Brad, on the other hand, not so much. So it's understandable. But
it is still good.
yeah, I think I got everything there. You know,
Yeah.
action drafting, that is the thing. It has a fun turn order to it. I think it's not a mechanic necessarily, but I think it is something worth noting that this is a game where turn order is by snake. So you go 1 through 4 and then 4 through 1 or in that order. So those are kind of the big things.
So player count, this is 2 to 4. There is an expansion for a solo, but the expansion, it sounds like, was based off of a fan-made solo experience. So if you wanted that, you could just print it off of BGG in one of the forums that's available if you don't want to spend the money on the solo. I would like to try the solo because I know somebody specifically asked for this in the solo, but I'll probably try to do that hopefully in a future video. But right now we haven't played it. I would say best player count, in my opinion, we've played it at 2, we've played it at 4. I would probably stick in the 2 to 3 range. At 4, it gets a little bit winded. Toph and I were able to play it in about 60 to 90 minutes as a 2-player game. Toph had some AP going on a bit, but I think in that 60 to 90 minutes, you know, depending on how quickly you're trying to decide things, is easily done. At 2, at 4, we were at 2+ hours. So, you know, it's a much longer game at 4. So that's why I think 2 to 3 is really where you want to stick with it. And then, so going on to the turn orders, which Toph talked about the mechanics, it's fairly simple. On your turn, you can take that's a guest card, and you're trying to fulfill their order if they go to the table. And it's an open drafting, and kind of like a lot of the games, you're going to, the further away they are from the end, they cost money. So you have a couple that you can get for free, one that you can get for $1, $2, and $3. You take that guest and then seat them at your table. You only have 3 spaces. This is an optional item because you may not be able to place them at a table because you may have 3 people already sitting down in your tableau. After that is the mandatory action. So Toph talked about dice selection. Somebody's going to roll all the dice, whoever the first player is. It's going to be 1 through 6. And then you're going to choose one of those actions, 1 through 6. And 1 and 2 give you cubes that you can, you know, place on the people that are sitting at their tables. 3 allows you to get more rooms to expand your hotel. 4 will get you, move you up on the Emperor's track or get you money. 5 allows you to draw more workers for your hotel. And 6 allows you to do one of the other things for $1, right? So that's kind of you're optionally getting somebody to sit at the table, you're mandatorily taking a dice action, and then you have some free actions. The free actions are things like you can move food from your kitchen to somebody sitting at the table for $1. And then some of your guests are going to have one-time actions for that turn that you might be able to use as a free action. So there's a few things like that, but that's your turn in essence. So, you know, it isn't a hard thing to learn. It's hard to then figure out how to get those things chaining so that you can really start getting the money going and getting that moving. Or I say money. One, you want to get money going, but you also want to just get the victory points to move around the board.
Yeah. You have 7 rounds in this game, and each round you're only playing twice. So this is really a tight game with very limited actions that you can take. So you do want to build that engine. You want to build it quickly.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing to mention is per round, you only get 2 to go twice.
That's what I just said.
Oh, did you say that? Sorry. I heard him say 7 rounds, but
well, there's 7 rounds, but yeah, you get to go twice.
You only get to go twice per round. So it's only it's 14 turns for the whole game. It makes it really tight. Really tight.
We found how tight that was almost instantly when we started playing. Like it was this is fun. And then it was like wait
a minute, turn's over.
Yeah. And there's no money. I have no money. What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It seems overly simple, 5, I think, free actions, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of learning what to do. There's a lot of learning how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Pros and cons? Pros.
Yeah. So I absolutely love the action selection with the dice. I love that it is, yes, random because you're rolling a bunch of dice. That roll, Brad, actually was pretty uniform across it. But the way that it works is you decide which of those dice numbers you want to take. If it's 1 through 6, that's the action you're going to do. But you're going to do it based on the number of dice that are in that category when you select it. So if there's 5 dice in that category and it's take 5 resources, you're getting 5 resources. And then you take that dice away, and the next time that action is taken, it's only 4. And so you're really trying to plan what can maximize what you can do based on what you actually need at the given time. And that stress is a lot of fun. That's my number 1 pro.
Yeah, and I could talk about. I agree with him. Dice action selection is just something I enjoy. I think I do enjoy the whole this to do this to do this. You're trying to select the people to sit at your hotel, and once you give them their order, they have a benefit, right? And so the people who have green tables, they don't go into your hotel. So you're getting a benefit, but then they're not helping you towards like in-game or mid-game victory points. So you kind of have to measure that with, do I go ahead and do that? Because it's kind of it's almost a wasted person because you don't get to place them in your hotel. And there's a lot of benefits in doing that. So like, and then the difficulty comes into where there's people that want to go in red rooms, people want to go in yellow rooms, people that want to go in blue rooms, and you're never going to get the person coming out that you want, and you've already put built hotel rooms to match those people. So, I kind of I like it. I find it frustrating, and I like it at the same time. It's got some randomness to it. You're trying to plan out, and then you may have not planned, and so how are you going to pivot and move? But you only get 2 turns per turn. It's so tight.
That's the thing, is those 2 turns. I jotted down pretty much exactly what he's saying as another pro. I called it focused planning. It's tactical play. It's trying to build up your hotel to do something big, but then you have to be based on the dice and on the cards that are coming out because you don't know who or what's going on. I will say the green tables, I believe, tend to, at least in my opinion, be a little bit more beneficial at the action than the benefit action of the yellow, blue, or red rooms. But I don't know. Maybe that's not always the case. I just kind of felt that way. Either they had more points or they gave you something that was big. You could go up multiple times on one of the tracks, or you could, get more money into your bank, something like that. But there is that ploy of, you got to build out your rooms in the right order. You can't do it at the same time as you're putting somebody in it, and your rooms have to touch. So you can't just build something because you need a red room somewhere else. You've got to do it in order. I like that a lot. I do. Which I think is going to go to my next pro. This game is tight.
I think that's the general theme of this game.
Yes, it is.
Which is crazy, but how many points you can get with how tight it ends up being.
Yes, 100%. You've got so many things that you can do. We say that there's only 14 turns in the game, and there's only like 5 or 6 actions total that you can really take. But there's so many different things to focus on. You've got end game contracts up at the top, where if you can maximize in a specific area, you can get 15 points or 10 points or 5 points if you're the first, second, or third person that gets that. So maybe you want to focus on those. Maybe that's get the most amount of certain rooms filled, or the most amount of money on your board that hasn't been spent, or something. And then there's the Emperor's track, and you want to make sure you're going up on that, because if you don't go up on that, you're going to lose likely major points at every Emperor scoring, which happens 3 times in the game. It also is going to give you big victory points if you get all the way up, but if you're focusing only on that, you're not focusing on something else. So it's this idea of, looking at everything, surveying everything, and saying, what can I actually do? What can I forget about this turn? Which is really hard to do, but that's the benefit I love in a good engine builder, is forgetting about some things. It's okay. Another card will come out that's got money on it. Let somebody else take it. Don't spend your money on it now. Or, oh, I really need to focus on this instead. So that's a great benefit, but I'm going to pass on that fantastic benefit card because I need to do something else. So yeah, tight game.
Yeah, and it's strange. Like, and we both think it's tight, but like I could see Toph and Jill, just like screaming ahead, and like Derek and I struggling to try to get that momentum going. It was just one of those things that like we were really, really focused on things, but like and it didn't feel like I was getting that far behind, but I just wasn't generating the points to go along with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
so
it's a lot. I think the more you play it, I think it's going to get to the point where you're going to start understanding what things you can let go of and what things you need to focus on and what things are really going to give you a lot of points. I don't truly know why I was able to get like almost twice as many points as you in each of the games. I do see some combos and I'm better at tactical play. Like that's my thing. Whereas you are really good at long-term planning and strategy. And I think if this game had more turns, you would have then screamed because you see further out saying, I'm going to go for that and I'm going to get there. And you are going to get there. Problem is at that point, because of the race for points, we're already there.
Yeah. And you have to like you just have to look at what's available to you at that time. So,
yeah. And be willing to pivot. I didn't do this and I kind of wish I would have, but you can pass your turn. And when you pass your turn, you still take a die away. But at the end of the game, end of the round, then everybody who's passed gets the turn to go. And what you do is you re-roll the dice. And so it's a gamble, but it could be a gamble that could really help you or hurt you. It hurt Derek because he was rolling for it, didn't get what he wanted, passed again, took a die away, re-rolled. And it's like, okay, you got to just do something because you've got 3 dice left. You're not going to do anything with those 3 dice.
Yeah. And I was able to use it. I used it a couple times in the game, but it does allow you like, I need cubes. So cubes aren't real. I need more than the cubes they have. I'm passing, waiting until the end, everybody's done. I'll take all the rest of the dice, re-roll them. And then, I was able to get at least more than was available prior to that. Right. So that's kind of the idea of the pass.
Yeah.
So cons?
Yeah. You want me to go first or you?
I'll go first because this may be your first con as well.
Okay.
I hate the turn order.
Oh, that's not a con at all for me. That's a pro for me. I love that.
So the reason I don't like this turn order, and I understand why they do it, is that it adds to the length of the game. The length of the game, especially at 4, wouldn't be so bad. So the turn order, the person who goes first then goes last, right? So you now are 8 turns of doing nothing while everybody else goes. The downtime, and that's why I don't want to play this at 4 again. The downtime at 4 is too long. At 2, it wasn't too bad, but it was still kind of like, no offense, AP Toph sometimes, him APing for 2 turns, I'm sitting there just, waiting. But that's the thing I don't like about the snake kind of turn system. And this was really the first game that I think I've encountered that. Now, I don't mind games where the first player changes because, like somebody may take the action selection. Now I'm first and everybody moves around. But I never feel like I'm taking it took like 2 full turns just to get back to me if you're first.
Yeah.
So that's definitely was a con for me.
Yeah. Which I think my first con is going to build on that, and that is the iconography. 2 parts to this. There's a lot of icons, but there's also a very terrible cheat. Yes. There's no cheat sheet. So the workers, we'll start with the workers. So the worker cards, I don't have them in front of me here, but every worker has a name. Every card has a name to it. And those names on the cards also have a number on it. And so you will see in the middle of it, it's hard to see, but there's a number. However, where the workers and their identification of what it is that they do, the description is in the board, is not by the number that's on the card.
It's alphabetical.
It's alphabetical.
And it's harder to read their script of the worker's name.
It's size 3 cursive font.
Yeah, and so they have it alphabetical. Then they have the number next to it so that if you find the alphabet, you can confirm that the number's right. It should have just been numeric.
So I will say I have been on BGG, just kind of going through the forums and the files. There's a lot of people who have created cheat sheets for this game. Go print one out. Those. Yeah, because they have done them and sorted the cheat sheets by the number that's on the card. instead of the name. So now you can have it both ways, you know. And there's also some icons that we found on cards and on things that are not actually in the book. So the rules don't talk about some of the actual icons in the game. And that's where
And
you
this
sit
is
there.
an older version, so the newer versions may have that corrected. However,
It's
come on, guys.
yeah. And that adds to it, because when you're having to sit there and you've got your turn and you're like, oh, wait, what does that do? Now you're pulling out the book and it's taking forever to find it because you don't have a good cheat sheet that's going to help you with it. And so until you get to know this game, I'm with Brad. I don't want to play it at 4-player because it just takes too much time. So you've got a tight game that you have to do a lot of thinking in, and now you got to also translate a lot. It's going to take some time to get to know that. So icons,
It slows the game down.
yeah, just realize there's a lot of them.
I think
It
that
takes a while to figure
yeah,
it
and
out.
I think that's where all my complaints would be with, you know, in the turn order is just things that slow the game down. You want to make this go quicker with those, so you don't have to look up stuff, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. Once you get to that point, or once you have some good cheat sheets that allow you to do that, the turn order won't matter as much because people can kind of move through it.
Mhm.
You may have a group that's like, oh, I've played it 50 times, and you're going to play it in an hour. But 4 players aren't going to play this in an hour. Unlikely.
Not unless you really know this
Yeah,
game
you'd have
very
to-
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you want to maximize everything. I think that's my
Mhm.
other, I'm going to go into another con. My other con is this is a tight game. Now, overall, that is a pro for me.
Mhm.
And I do love that. But because it is such a tight game, it's almost too tight of a game. You want to maximize everything you do. That takes time and it's hard to do. You're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of something. And then you're going to be stuck. And then it's pivoting, 100% pivoting
Yeah. I think
away.
so. I thought Gaia Project's a tight game. This is tighter. This may be the tightest game
Wow.
I can think of. I think this is tighter than Gaia Project. I really feel like it is.
I have minimum plays of Gaia Project, so I cannot confirm. But I mean, maybe
It's
like,
easier than Gaia Project, 100%.
Yeah,
And Gaia Project's a tight game. This one
Yeah.
just feels like, all right.
like
I only have 2 turns. At least in Gaia Project, you're going until you run out of resources. This is you got 2 turns. Having 2 turns per round makes it super, super tight. And it's an efficiency game. I haven't done enough efficiency games to be efficient.
Yeah, and that's a little bit different in our play and the games that we play and games that make up our individual collections. I think. Yeah, it's Barrage. I think is the other game I think of that's really tight. This is a whole lot easier than Barrage.
Yeah, but you have
But-
more. I'd almost disagree with that.
Okay,
It's not this tight. It is
Interesting.
not this tight because you have a lot of workers. You can, depending on how you spend your workers, things like that. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I would disagree, but I can see where you'd say that.
Yeah.
It's not this tight though.
This comes
Then Gaia Project, Barrage is a couple more down from that. I'm not saying Barrage isn't tight, but it's not the same. Once
See-
again, you're getting more than 2 turns.
and maybe this is where the style of gaming that Brad does and the style of gaming that I do is going to differ a little bit because,
Yeah.
well, you've also played Barrage 1,000 times. I think this is incredibly easier than Barrage. And
Wait.
I almost feel like it's not as tight, but the games that I've played of Barrage have been, and I've played one of them online with somebody, I forget who it was. I feel so much more limited in what I can do in Barrage. There's more to do. There's more at stake than this game, but I feel so much more limited with it than I do here. Maybe that's just because I see this. I see this
Right.
in my mind. It works for me, and I can pivot. I can play that tactical play that I know how to do, and build an engine based on what I have and what's coming up, not based on what I think would be the most efficient. So that's one thing I think you and I where we struggle. You
Cool.
see something and you're like, I want to maximize this, and I'm like, this is all I got. I'm just gonna do it, and I do it, and then I win.
There you go.
So, anyways,
So let's move on to the weight rating.
yes. So this game, according to BGG, it is at a 3.21 in weight. I think this is a 2.5 when it comes to learning how to play it until you sit down and you make that second turn. You make that second turn, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I can't say that word. Crap. What am I doing? I can't do anything. And that's where it gets high. I struggle with where to put this in weight. Honestly, I do. I've gone back and forth with it. I don't necessarily feel that that's correct. Maybe it is. I think of I don't know.
You don't think what's correct? 2.5 or 3.2?
3.2.
Mm.
There's part of me that thinks it's heavier because of the tightness of really needing to manage so many things critically in order to be efficient. So I think it's heavier in that regard, but the actual game itself, I think of so much lighter than 3.2.
Yeah, I think it's a 3. I think this is one of those games where I'm pleasantly happy that it was easy to learn. Like, we literally learned it for the first time in 30 minutes. Like, Toph read through some of the rules, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is what you do. Now, so like, to learn it, definitely 2.5. To then play it, it's not a 2.5. Like, that's where the tightness comes in. That's where I can't get any money. Holy crap. And then like, oh, red doors give you money. Blue doors, blocks of red rooms give you money. Blocks of blue rooms give you victory points. Blocks of yellow rooms give you the Emperor's Track. And so and then every other round, or it's the third, then the fifth, and the seventh, the Emperor, either you did good and you're going to get a bonus, or you didn't make it and you're going to get a negative and lose stuff. So you have that on top of it. Like, you're trying to get victory points, and then you have to make sure you're getting people to the rooms, and blah, 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 and then oh yeah, now it's an Emperor's turn, and then you better have moved up the Emperor's Track and not ignored that. Otherwise, you could lose. Like, this one's get rid of a couple guys or lose 7 points. Or
the Emperor, or the negatives are so bad.
Yeah, this one is lose four of your little cubes that you're using to try to get people into the rooms. Then the last one is lose a worker, or lose -10 victory points. Like, this is not, so you have to be aware of all that and keep trying to move it through.
Yeah.
So
it's so what is it weight rating? I don't know. I don't know where to put it. I guess that's right. I think I think with Brad, it's about a 3 probably in my mind. If you are not a tactical player, if you don't have experience with being a player that can manage an engine building process and really get a tableau of things that work together based on only what you're given, not on what you can do well, but on what you're given, this is going to be a much more difficult game for you to be able to at least be efficient. Are you still going to enjoy it? I hope so.
Yeah,
but
because I suck at it and I still like it.
Yeah, but I don't suck at it necessarily. I mean, I don't know where I am against players who've been playing it for years, but I've done fairly well. But I do. I think it's an enjoyable game either way.
So we're putting our foot down. It's a 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a 3.
Final answer.
A 3.
All right.
So value. What about value?
Value rating. So you can get this between $50 and $60. I think I got this used. I think it was like $25. So it's readily available, right? I think if you had to buy it new, there's not a deluxe one out that I've seen. You're gonna get it between $50 and $60, right? So I think for the game you're getting and the tightness and everything, I think it's a 4 out of 5. I like games in the $50 range. Aching to Castles of Burgundy and some of those. This is replayable. It's easier to learn the Castles of Burgundy, and you can enjoy it and be like, oh, I want to get a little bit better. I want to get more efficient, things like that. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 value rating, $50 to $60, but I'm sure you can probably get it cheaper than that.
Yeah, and they have 2 or 3 expansions that are out. The one that has that solo mode has 2 or 3 modules in it. So it not only is the base game extremely replayable, but if you want to start adding expansions into it, I don't think it's needed. Yeah. But I haven't played it enough. Maybe I will at some point. Yeah. You have those options too. Yeah. So 4 out of 5 is a fantastic rating for that.
I think I think $50 is a good price for a good game.
And
right? I do.
This has 2 decks of cards plus bonus cards plus a lot of cardboard chits, and 25 dice.
Yeah, for me getting to use it 25, 5 out of 5, right? So for what it's worth, used games are good.
They are, but it's good as a $50 game. Yeah.
So BGG rating, I'll go first because Toph is the Euro master. So on BGG, this is just under an 8. It's showing at 7.9 out of 10. So it's people love it. People want to play it. If somebody recommends it, they're recommending it, things like that. That is 3,200 people having made that recommendation. So
No.
20,000.
I was gonna say, I
Wrong one.
can't
That's
believe only
comments.
3,000 people.
So 20,000 people are ranking it, and so that's pretty good. So a lot of people, just barely under an 8. Good game.
Yeah.
Well regarded game at 20,000 people. I'm going to be right there. I think this is an 8. I would recommend this game. I would play this game if somebody wanted to play it. I might not play it at 4. But other than that, I think this is an excellent, excellent Euro game.
Nice.
Toph.
9.
9.
I gave it a 9, and I gave it a 9 pretty quickly, and I'm holding to that. Yes. There's some flaws. There's some cons that I have for it, but at the same time, I want to play this.
This is right up your alley.
This is right up my alley. Yeah. It's what I thought it would be. When you have an expectation of a game and then all of a sudden that expectation is met or exceeded, it's a good one. And we knew going into this, once we realized it's Simone Luciani and we love the games that he's produced that we've played, that this is going to be a good game, and it lives up to that. I think it's definitely for me a 9.
Yep, this is a very good game. So what do you think? Do you have this game? I know one of you has it and is one of your favorite games. You commented on it before. Are you interested in getting it? So, or have you played it and it's too tight or just not interesting, or I don't like the way it looks, I want something a little bit more modern. Just curious, comment down below and let us know what you think.
Yeah. And if you want to see us do a playthrough of it and me destroy Brad,
yes,
because that might happen, let us know that too. And we'll post screenshots of our BG
Final
stats.
scores. Yeah, I think so. Me and Derek got somewhere around 75, right? And Jill and Toph were, I don't know,
160 and 160. I think I had 167 and she had 170 something.
Yeah, she beat Toph by a couple points.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
they lapped us.
So okay, here's a random con of the board. The outside of the board is actually your score track, and it only goes to 75, and then it starts over, and so weird math. But yeah, both games that we played, both games that
we were past 75. We must have past 75.
You
anyway,
must have been past 75 because I know I lapped him both games, and I lapped him at the high side of you getting around the track. So yeah, why does it only go to 75? That's so weird.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
Anyways, it is.
So we got 100, over 100, 110, 106.
Okay.
And then you guys got she got almost 200, and you got almost 180.
Okay. So I was in my mind.
So yeah, lots of spinning around that outside loop. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Awesome.
Let us know what you think. Subscribe if you like this. We really appreciate it. There's 63% of you that haven't subscribed yet. If you made it this far, you probably already subscribed, but we appreciate it anyway.
And definitely join us for the long haul for all the crazy things that we do, reviews, playthroughs, you name it. We'd love to see you here at the table. So
thank you. And just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or your friends,
enjoy whatever games you are bringing to the table.
Have a great night.